Hi, I'm Venus O'Hara and welcome to another video. I've been away this week in Madrid and now I'm back and I'm dying to make videos, so I thought I would make something. So I had the idea of making a video about the girl code and more specifically girl code disaster stories. So what is the girl code? I just did a quick Google search now and I found something that says the 6 most important girl code rules, which are 1, don't hate on girls you don't know. 2, be honest when your girlfriend asks how she looks. 3, rescue any girl you see getting hit on by a creep. And then 4, which is the one I'm going to be talking about today, exes, siblings and close friends are off limits unless you get permission. And then 5, don't share secrets. And 6, another one, don't let a guy get between you and your friend. So I'm really going to be focusing on number 4 and number 6 when friendships become complicated due to guys or love interests in general. So I wanted to share this with you today because it's something that's really bothered me at some parts of my life and some times in my life anyway. I first had some kind of girl code disaster story when I was around 15 or something, when people were just kind of making out with guys for the first time, just some innocent kisses behind the bike sheds. Well, they weren't really bike sheds, but just a figure of speech. And I remember at the time I really fancied this guy. He was my crush, my teenage crush, and I'd kissed him a few times. And my best friend at the time decided that she was attracted to him as well, even though I'd spent 2 or 3 years talking about this guy because I really fancied him. And he was a couple of years older. And she decided that it was really strange because back in those days, when people wanted to kind of make out, they kind of arranged it saying, hey, do you want to get off with me? As if you kind of would arrange some kissing with tongues date. It's a bit weird. And then sometimes it was just the kissing and then goodbye with not really much conversation. So she told me that she really wanted to kiss this guy and that she was going to do it one day after school. And I remember thinking, I was absolutely heartbroken because this was like my best friend, and she was a real rock to me during my teenage years. So I felt incredibly let down, and I was just hoping that day after school, I felt kind of sick inside, and I was just hoping that maybe she would change her mind because of the loyalty towards me and our friendship. But she didn't do it. So the next day I asked her, so did you do it? She goes, yeah, it was all right. I just thought, and nothing ever came of it. So I'm not sure how much she fancied this guy just to kind of have this one-off kiss. I mean, I can kind of maybe understand if there was true love there and then I would just be an obstacle. But I just felt very, very let down because she wasn't too bothered about him after that. So yeah, that was my first encounter with girl code disasters. And then later on in my life, when I grew up and matured and started having sex and stuff, I must confess that I think also that the girl code should also extend to women that you don't know. I think it should be sticking up for the sisterhood in that. For example, if a married guy hits on you, then maybe you should say no just out of respect towards his wife. I didn't used to think like that, but I do now. And there were times in my life when I had opportunities to kind of get off with a guy who was, well, I used to have this kind of obsession when I was starting to have sex to kind of seduce men that I perceived to be challenges, for example, a boss at work and stuff like that. And I remember once I actually did have a bit of a kiss and slap and tickle with a guy who was my boss in one of my first waitressing jobs, and he happened to be married, and that for me, I just didn't care. I was just thinking, wow, I was able to seduce a married man. And then obviously I didn't realize how easy that would be, but I didn't give 2 thoughts about his wife. I didn't care at all, whereas now there was absolutely no way I would do that, and I would never be someone's number 2. You know what I mean? I've completely changed my perspective on that. But more recently I was a victim of the lack of girl code with a friend who's I wouldn't really call her a friend now. But I remember actually, I had a friend that I gave a vibrator to, because I give vibrators to lots of my friends. And we had a cup of tea, and to talk about orgasms, I gave her orgasms indirectly. And I was telling her about this guy that I'd met, and how amazing it had been just to meet this person. And she also knew him, and she was like, oh, he's an interesting guy. And then little did I know that the next time I was in contact with her, she was messaging me to tell me, well, actually, let me get, with this guy, it didn't really work out for many reasons, but I still really liked him, and it was a great experience for me. And just within a month of that conversation with her, I think things did go a bit pear-shaped with this guy. And suddenly, within about a week or something of me and him kind of breaking up, she messaged me and telling me that she'd met up with him several times, and then and she hoped that wouldn't affect our friendship stroke connection. And I thought, what? I mean, I just felt really, the last time I'd seen her, I was telling her about this guy that I really liked. So I thought I didn't really feel that I could trust her again, because as it says in number 4 and number 6, exes, siblings and close friends are off limits unless you get permission. So I did kind of give her permission, but it was kind of, they were already meeting up at that point. I would never stand in the way of whatever would develop between them, but I just definitely did not consider her to be a friend since then. Because when you've got female friends, I mean, you just want to be able to, or any friends, you want to be able to trust them completely and not think that they're going to be trying to get off with your partner at any time in the future. I'm gone, woo. So anyway, that's my opinion on that. But then I've spoken to other friends about this, and they've said, but if you didn't want him, who cares? I mean, he's not even, you already chose to not pursue this relationship, so you shouldn't really have some kind of territorial control over what happens to them and what they do afterwards. It's kind of like a form of jealousy in a way. And so for me, I even feel feeling uncomfortable about this. But for me as well, when I think about my closest friends and their partners, there is absolutely no way I would ever go out with any of them in the future if they were to break up with my good friends. They are completely off limits. I almost see them as family in a way, so it's a kind of like relationship that an attraction just would never ever, just wouldn't happen. So there are some disaster stories of the girl code, and I'd love to know what you think about the girl code. And is it just for friends, or do you extend it to women that you don't know sticking up for the sisterhood? Anyway, it'd be really interesting to hear your stories or comments or opinions about this, and I'd love to read them in the comments below. And if you have any suggestions for new videos, don't hesitate to contact me at venusohara.org or on Instagram at venusohara. Thanks for watching.